Hey everybody, welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. This is your evening update. We're going to continue to track the pattern in through February with more winter storm potential and update you on the polar vortex. Will it be coming to the United States or will it not be? We're going to update you on that in this video. So highly recommend you to subscribe to the channel and follow along with all my detailed, accurate weather breakdowns. Best to subscribe, turn on post notifications, like the video, give it a thumbs up, and of course share this video with friends, family, and on social media. I definitely appreciate it. Let's look at our temperatures. Here are your highs that we achieved this afternoon across the west, and a lot of 80s down here in Southern California, Southern Nevada, and Arizona, even some 70s over in New Mexico. Coldest of the air in the western U.S. anyway will be up here into Montana with the single digits below zero temperatures, wind chills much colder than that. As we start the day tomorrow, it's going to be pretty cold up there in Montana. Really not much of a change in our temperatures from where we had this afternoon for tomorrow morning. And then to the south, where we had the 70s and 80s, we're going to be into the 40s and 50s for overnight lows. How about the central U.S.? Here are your highs we saw today. We had the single digits, even a few areas in North Dakota seeing single digits below zero with our temperatures. Wind chills obviously much colder. And notice the freezing line dropping down into Oklahoma, into Missouri, Central Illinois, and Indiana today as well. The 80s did arrive back into south central Texas, but as we start the day tomorrow, notice our temperatures will be cooling off, still hanging on to the 60s for lows across coastal and eastern Texas through Louisiana and Mississippi. Look at the single digits. At least we're above zero with the air temperatures up there tomorrow morning. Our wind chills could be pushing 5 below to 15 below here in the northern plains, the Dakotas, and the upper Midwest, Wisconsin, into Minnesota. So if you are heading off to work or to the bus stop for school, make sure to bundle up in layers because frostbite can occur in these types of conditions in less than 30 minutes. Now, how about the eastern U.S.? Notice to the north, we're into the single digits and the teens, closest to the Great Lakes in the northeast. In the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, we're more into the 30s this afternoon, 70s, even 80s down here in Florida. Now, starting off tomorrow morning, temperatures over here will be much colder, especially from Maine into New Hampshire, Vermont, and upstate New York, where we have a snowpack, pretty decent on the ground there. Temperatures will be below zero, and wind chills will be much colder than that up here, around 20 below zero. So again, this is another area to bundle up in layers. Frostbite in these conditions can occur in less than 15 or 20 minutes. So, looking here at the next 24 hours or so. So here's this evening. We got the Pineapple Express. Other people have called it the atmospheric river, whatever you want to call it. It's got a lot of moisture out west, right? We're seeing a lot of heavy snow in the higher elevations. We're seeing a lot of rain in the foothill regions, and that will continue overnight tonight. Some of that moisture spreading into portions of Idaho, western Montana, western Wyoming, into Nevada, Utah. You guys get it. As we go into tomorrow morning, that will continue. And looking here at our temperature trends through the rest of this week. Notice as we go into Wednesday, this is tomorrow, February 5th, we're going to see some mild air to the south, coldest air to the north, not that much dissimilar from today. And then as we go into Thursday, we got a system that's developing here in the Midwest. Preceding that, we're going to be seeing warmer air that'll pull down some cold air on the backside. And then as we go into the weekend, we're going to get another big push of warm air preceding that system with even a stronger push of cold air as we go into Super Bowl Sunday. That could be a little bit more widespread across the plains, the Midwest, and into the Great Lakes and much more of the Northeast. Now, how about the West? Yes, the Pineapple Express, the atmospheric river, whatever you want to call it, it's raining, it's snowing out here, and we're going to be seeing a lot of that as we go through this evening and overnight. That'll continue into Wednesday. Notice the moisture will be migrating further south, and notice also it will be getting eliminated as it moves further south. The drought feedback here in central Southern California foothills and really the desert Southwest eating away at that precipitation shield on Wednesday, and then a new storm arrives on Thursday morning that'll bring more snow and rain to areas of northern central California. That'll cross through into portions of Oregon, Idaho, and Montana, Wyoming. A lot of these areas getting snow from it in the higher elevations going into Saturday, February 7th, or Friday, February 7th. Then as we go into the weekend ahead, we're going to be seeing the tap shut off and drier weather finally across the west. The atmospheric river will finally end. So additional rainfall accumulations in inches across California. Foothills here, we're going to be seeing an additional 2 to 4 inches. Isolated spots higher than that, close to 6 inches still. So be watching out for some mudslides and some flash flooding. As far as snowfall is concerned, we're going to be seeing some decent snow, especially the Sierras here. We're going to be seeing over a couple of feet of snow, 2 to 3 feet. And then as you go up into the Cascades, especially for Oregon, could be seeing a foot or so of snow there. Otherwise, heavier snows into northern central Idaho, into western Montana, parts of western Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, even Nevada. You guys get it. We're getting a few inches of snow there going through the Super Bowl weekend. Now let's talk about the storm system downstream, because this could bring a notable winter storm, and not only for just snow, but an ice storm threat across the Ohio Valley. Severe weather, heavy rain side as well. This is your precipitable water anomaly. It's the percent of normal. So whatever you normally see for the early week of February, this is more moisture than you can handle here, basically. So this is 300% of normal in the Ohio Valley, which essentially means it's a moisture-laden system, long story short. So looking here as we go into tomorrow morning, going to see a little bit of freezing drizzle. That may begin as far south as northern Missouri, and then that will start to pick up across portions of southern Iowa, western Illinois Wednesday afternoon. Here comes the low pressure, 993 millibars in western portions of South Dakota, and then here comes that freezing rain. I think it picks up a little bit more east of Chicago. Chicago could have freezing drizzle, freezing rain and sleet, but I think the notable ice storm threat is shifting further east and toward Detroit, Toledo, over here toward Akron, and especially near Pittsburgh, Scranton, these areas. And then cold air damming from this high over the northwest Atlantic could actually lead to cold air damming, freezing rain across Maryland into the panhandle here of West Virginia, northern Virginia, rainfall, severe weather further south, and then of course snowfall further to the north. As we go through that time frame, notice as we go into the weekend, this is Super Bowl weekend. A lot of people watching the big game. Well, we're going to have another big system moving into the eastern U.S. Saturday the 8th and into Sunday the 9th of February. And again, similar areas, the percent of normal for precipitation will be high, 300% of normal, which means, again, another moisture-laden system will be on its way. This one a little bit tad further south. It's not into South Dakota with the low, the main parent low down here in Kansas, but you get the idea. Snow to the north, rain, and then a freezing rain spot further to the south. Notice as we go into Saturday afternoon, maybe Chicago gets freezing rain, maybe they get rain. If this shifts 50 miles north, Chicago gets rain. If this shifts 50 miles south, they're more into the snow. It's hard to say right now, but definitely keeping an eye on the trends. And then as we go in towards the weekend, again, similar areas with freezing rain into Pittsburgh, into places there of eastern PA, the Poconos, for example, southern New York, and then down into Jersey, and then snowfall from the Great Lakes and then over there toward Boston. Severe weather will need to be watched. Areas of West Virginia, Kentucky, down into Tennessee could have some isolated stronger thunderstorms. Those would mainly be for hail, but damaging winds and tornadoes will still be possible. Looking at the rainfall, we're going to see plentiful amounts of rain. This is taking up two systems. The midweek system that starts tomorrow into Thursday, and then the Saturday-Sunday Super Bowl weekend system. This is the rainfall total here in the yellows and oranges. That's over 2 inches of rain in most areas. That'll spread into the northeast. And then we're looking at the potential for severe weather, as we noted. This is for tomorrow across portions of Kentucky into middle and northwest Tennessee, including Nashville. So going to be keeping an eye on that. Bowling Green, we could have some stronger wind gusts, some hail, and a brief isolated tornado or two. I think the biggest threat really from this system will be the ice. I think this is going to be a widespread scope of ice across portions of the Ohio Valley, but really over here with cold air damming from southern New York State, Connecticut into northern Jersey, down into Pennsylvania, really going to get hit hard by this ice all the way down into Maryland, the Panhandle in eastern West Virginia, northern Virginia. We can see some isolated spots upwards to a half an inch of ice, and this definitely could cause not only travel difficulties, but also power outages as well in some scattered instances. Then further north, deeper into the cold air, we're going to see some heavy snow up here into the Twin Cities region, Duluth over toward Green Bay, up here into northern lower Michigan, Marquette into the UP of Michigan, and then much of the northeast as well. In fact, the northeast could be seeing upwards to a foot of snow between those two systems, the midweek one Wednesday, Thursday, and the Super Bowl weekend one Saturday into Sunday. Places here like upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, even Massachusetts, and into Maine could have the best chance of 6 to 12 inches of snow. Again, upwards to a foot. Looking at next week's temperature pattern, we're going to see a big cold blast entering into the United States. How far south and the magnitude of which, how cold the air will get, is still uncertain at this point. So make sure, again, to turn on post notifications, subscribe to the channel. We're going to keep you updated. And this is going to squash the ridge further south. How far south does this squash the ridge? If it doesn't go as far south, then we're going to see warmer air across the southeast. But either way we split it, we're going to see a very active weather pattern here as the MJO, the Madden-Julian Oscillation, is in its active phases, 7, 8, and entering into 1, really toward the middle of February. So that means some active weather, and obviously raindrops are heavier than snow. So where you see the blues here, that's likely where you're going to see the rain. The lighter amounts of QPF, which is quantitative precipitation forecast, that's where we're going to have more of the snowfall because it's lighter. Snowfall's lighter than raindrops. So looking at this is an ensemble approach, the GFS ensemble, showing you next week, Monday, February 10th. Notice the blue is the snow, the pink is the sleet, freezing rain, and the green is the rain. That darker the green is the heavier rain. And notice as we go through next week, a lot of that blue staying further to the north. So the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, up into the Great Lakes, the Northeast, and some of the Mid-Atlantic will likely see wintry weather, whether that's snow, sleet, freezing rain remains to be seen. Rainfall further to the south, yes, severe weather will be in play at times, so we'll be keeping an eye on that across Dixie Alley. Now, let's introduce you to the stratospheric polar vortex, because we've been talking about this, plenty of people talking about this. Let's look at two weather models because there are differences still on what exactly happens here. And this could go back into what we were talking about with the magnitude of cold air. Notice it's stretching here. This is the European guidance as we go into next Monday, February 10th. It's stretching, and then look, boom, we have a split. There's two lobes of the polar vortex, and we have warming on either side over here towards Scandinavia, and then one over here towards Alaska and the Aleutian Islands. That would be a sudden stratospheric warming event, and that could propel colder air further to the south into Canada, but also parts of the central and the eastern U.S. That's on the European model. What about the GFS, the American guidance? Same time frame. Yes, it's stretching. It continues to stretch next week. And then look, it takes a little longer to split, and it really not a full split either by the middle of February, and it doesn't go as far south, and it's not as intense. So maybe, just maybe, the GFS model is milder, and we escape some of the coldest of the air, and that remains bottled up to the north more toward the Great Lakes or even Canada, and milder air, more of a volatile weather pattern with temperatures for the GFS. So still a little bit of disagreement there, but nonetheless, into the third week of February, Saturday, February 15th through the following Saturday, February 22nd, colder air could be coming in from the north. Now, again, the magnitude and how widespread this cold air is does remain to be seen. So make sure, again, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, because this could be further south with the cold air, or it could be further north, and we could be seeing a blowtorch type of third week of February. And right now, my opinion, I think it's going to be a little bit of both. I think we're going to have a lot of give and take here, and that will propel the potential for more winter storms with an active storm track with that tight temperature gradient. Further to the north, cold. Further to the south, warm, and right in between, that's our low pressure storm track, and snowfall further north in the cold air, more ice storm threats, and then obviously heavy rain and severe weather further to the south. Make sure, again, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, like the video, give it a thumbs up, and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. I am dedicated to keeping you guys updated on all these winter storms, the polar vortex, and much more. My spring forecast will be coming out either later this month or early March, and my severe weather forecast will be coming out very soon in the next several weeks as well. So again, make sure to subscribe to the channel, post notifications on, like the video, and share this with friends, family, and on social media. Thank you all for watching, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Tuesday out there.